Hi, my name is Alex, and this is the time that I found out my boyfriend was gay.
Your boyfriend.
I know, another boyfriend story. I have a lot of exes, but we are always on a journey with these men, okay? They stress me out. So, about a few years ago, I was at an event for work on a boat and having a great time. And my boyfriend at the time was asking me to come, out with him and his cousin because his cousin just graduated from college. So he picked me up from the event. We head to the club, and as we're at the club, I see someone that I know. And as I see someone that I know, they give me a hug, and it's a guy. And I'm like, hey, how are you? In the midst of me trying to introduce my boyfriend to him, my boyfriend already walked away. So, yeah. Side note, my boyfriend had really bad anger issues and jealousy issues. So, when I go and find him, I'm like, hey, I was trying to introduce you. He whispered in my ear, don't you ever embarrass me like that again. Why are you hugging men in front of me? And I'm just like, what? Like, I can't hug people? Okay. So we kind of got in an argument, and we just decided to leave. Me, him, his cousin, and his cousin's friend all get in the car. We have to drive all the way to Springfield. Now, where we were at was Washington, D.C. Springfield and Washington, D.C. is about 30-minute drive. So, being as though people had a few drinks in them, he drove the way there, and then I decided to drive the way back because he was tired. As he was tired and sleeping in the passenger seat, his phone goes off. And his phone goes off from a text message at 1 in the morning. Now, I'm not the girlfriend that likes to go through phones unless given a reason, but out of respect, I told him, your phone's going off at 1 in the morning, you should probably answer that. And he said, babe, I have nothing to hide, here's my passcode, literally talking in his sleep, 8555917. I'm like, oh, I grab my phone, I go on my notes, and I say, what was the password again? He said, 899517. I'm like, okay, let me write that down so I don't forget. Then I go in his phone with that password, and I'm looking in the text messages. Now, the text message is somebody who's talking to them like by themselves. The number is not saved, and it's someone who's just like, hey, what are you doing, like over the past like 6 months. I'm like, who has been texting them like that? So I scroll all the way up, and I scroll up and I see a selfie, and I'm like, it's a black dude taking a selfie and send it to him. Well, why did he send him a selfie? The conversation started off as, hey man, I'm not gonna make it. This is my ex-boyfriend. Hey man, I'm not gonna make it. I gotta feed my dogs and take them out. Maybe another time. And the guy was like, okay, yeah, we can link another time. Whatever, they're going back and forth. Then my ex asked him to send him a selfie or send him a pic. And the guy sends him a selfie. I guess the guy wasn't cute to him because the minute he sent the selfie, he kind of stopped texting. And the guy then says, oh, you kind of went ghost on me, being like funny. And then he said, well, just so you know, the cake is always waiting for you.
That cake been battered.
The cake is always waiting for you here whenever you're ready. And I'm like, the cake? Okay, first off, I was confused because it sounded like a drug deal at first, like they were talking in code, like can't meet up, blah, blah. I didn't know what was going on. Then when he said the cake, I'm like, well, cake is usually referred in two ways. Either you're eating cake or like cake. Booty. So I'm confused, and I'm like,
you know it was a pound cake. Guess you were trying to pound that cake.
Period.
To get some carrots.
So, I'm so confused. I'm taken back. The guy clearly was texting, and I'm like having so many ideas going in my mind, and I'm like, was he about to meet up with a guy like to hook up? Like what? So I pull over the car because my car, I had to. I could not keep driving. Absolutely not. I pulled over the car and I hopped out and I called my best friend and I'm like, Corey, we have to talk. And she's like, what? I said, I'm gonna send you something and I need you to digest this and tell me what you think this means. And so I took a screenshot of it, sent it to my phone, and then sent it to her, okay? As she reads that, she was like, okay, well, he could just be, you know, confused, experimenting, or maybe he thought it was a girl. I don't know, so many things. But my only advice is you have to really dig deep and figure out what the hell is going on. But as your best friend, I will not judge you. This is why she's my girl today. I will not judge you for what decision you make, but other people will. So do not tell a soul until you decide what you're gonna do. I said, okay. So I get back in the car. I drive us to my apartment. He gets out, he gets in my bed. I go to my living room and I start scrolling. And
Research time.
I was scrolling for 3 hours. I was scrolling till the next morning, like
Just scrolling, just everything.
scrolling. I went through all of his photos, all of his videos, all of his text messages, all of his DMs, all of his apps, deleted apps. I went through his block list on Instagram, his block list on Snapchat, because if somebody is gay and they're not trying to be gay, there's other people that probably know that try to out him. They're going to be blocked because he doesn't want them to know. So I go through his block list. His block list was all gay men. I went through his email, his video. He had some very suspect videos. He had a couple dick pics in there that weren't his. And it was just very much giving euphoria when they found out Nate was gay. Like, it was just like, it was too much. It was a lot to digest. He was very, very flirtatious with a lot of women and men in his DMs. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what to do. So all I knew what to do at that point, though, was to screenshot literally everything and send it to my phone. And as I screenshot and sent stuff to my phone, I would delete it and then delete it out of his phone and then go in his recently deleted and delete it again. So he had no trace that I sent him any of that stuff or sent that stuff from his phone to my phone. So there was this one picture of this guy, like, standing up with a dick pic, like, clearly propped up his phone and standing there. And I'm like, what the fuck? And it was an app, though. So I called one of my gay friends and I was like, hey, Bree, I'm gonna send you this dick pic. Don't be weirded out, but can you tell me what app this is? He's like, yeah. I sent it to him. He's like, oh, that's Grindr. That's for, like, guys on the DL. And that was one of his deleted apps. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, this nigga's gay. And so, and when I went back when I went
from ghetto to ghetto, the backyard to yard.
When I went to go back to look at when our text messages or his text message with that guy originally started, it started when we were on a break. And the reason why they were talking in code is because on the app, he would take pictures of himself, like just like his body and not his face. And he would find guys that would do the same thing because they're on the DL. And then that's when he would ask for a selfie. That's why they were talking in code, because they had already been having conversations on the app, and they transferred it because they were like, okay, I'm building a connection, let's meet up. And he was asking for a selfie, and I guess he didn't like what the guy looked like in the face, but he liked his body. That's why he stopped talking to him. Gets worse. This is just the beginning. So then I'm sitting there and I get in bed and I'm just staring at him the whole time in such disgust. Like, you piece of shit. You could have gotten me like an STD. Like, you're just being out here like risking it. And then on top of that, you're just like embarrassing me. Like, why wouldn't you be transparent about that? So, and then stuff started to click. I realized that he would bring me around a lot. Our relationship moved very fast, and his relationship with his father got better because I think his family knew. And then when I came around, it kind of like disappeared. He came from a very strong Christian family. So then after that, the following morning, his mom calls me because they are in real estate together. And she's like, hey, is my son there? We have a showing. He's like 10 minutes late. I'm like, oh, he's here. And I'm waking him up. It's like, you got to go meet your mom. Da, da, da. He's like pretty hungover, out of it. He's like, what happened last night? I was like, nothing, just go. We'll talk later. Later on that day, he finds himself trying to break up with me.
Duh.
Yo, this is getting better and better.
That's
Go.
funny.
He literally starts texting me and he's like, hey, so, you know, last night that fight that we had, I just realized, like, you're not the girl for me. I need a woman who is not going to be so flirtatious with men and da-da-da. I'm like, okay, you can totally break up with me, but I need some answers. We got to talk. No, like, we have to talk right now. And he's like, what are you talking about? I said, look, I was going to ease into this because I'm still processing it myself, but I found some weird shit in your phone and I need you to answer what it is. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, why the hell did I see dick pics? And I'm sending him everything that I saw, and then he calls me immediately and starts crying. So I've just had thoughts, like, it wasn't anything like that. Like, I was just thinking about it, but I've never done anything like that. You know, I love you. You're the love of my life. Da da da. And I'm like, what?
Bro, your thoughts gay.
I'm like, okay. Now I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, look, take yourself out of this. Take all your personal feelings out of this for a second and think from, like, his shoes. It's probably really hard for him to come out. Not trying to give him an excuse.
I mean, no, for sure.
But it's probably really hard for him to come out. He's probably dealt with some crazy trauma and really battling demons within. And he's just taking it out on me. It's not personal. But I have to be very careful with this, because if not, like, he's going to do this to another woman. So I have to make him feel comfortable, like, it's okay to be gay. Even though I want to wring his neck and put sugar in his tank. But that's fine. So he comes to my house. He brings me food from his mom's dinner. I'm like, okay. Like, it was
Solid gesture. I'll take
very
it.
solid. But I wasn't hungry and I needed answers. So as we sat at my dining room table, I was like, okay, let's talk about this. So last night, this person texted you. That's why, and you gave me your password, so I didn't randomly go through your phone. You told me to go. And when I went through your phone, I saw this guy and I was like, where did you meet him? And I'm waiting for him to just answer the questions that I already know the answers to. And he's like, oh, I met him at this festival at Broccoli City Fest. And I'm like, the conversation was back in January. Broccoli City is in May. He's like, oh, well, I met him at this festival. I said, that festival's in September. Which is it?
She know her festivals.
Yeah,
I do. I know my festival. I'll be outside. Don't question me. So, and I'm like, what festival's in January anyways? Like, what? In DC? Like, it's snowing. So, he's like, he just throws his hands up. He's like, then I don't know. And I'm like,
I don't know.
I wanted to laugh, but I'm like, this what? That I don't know. Like, it's just over. Like, next topic. Like, no, this is serious. And so I'm like, do you feel like you might be gay? Like, were you trying? No, I'm not gay. I've never done anything with a man. Like, I'm not into that type of stuff. Da 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 da. Like, just kept denying. So I'm like, okay, well, I have to go to work. Bartender, it was late. I was like, I have to go to work. I can't do this right now. Like, we're just gonna talk another time. So he leaves. I go to work. The next day, I did tell one of my other best friends, and she was completely shocked. Like, what the hell? He's gay. Like, what's going on? We ended up going to this event that following weekend. He knew I was going and he showed up. He's all in my face, holding my hand, kissing me on the cheek, trying to make it seem like we're still together in front of all of my friends and his friends. And I'm just like, this is weird. Like, why are we, like, pretending like I'm not your beard? Like, we gotta stop this. So then that Saturday he calls me and he's like, hey, I'm at this wine festival. Like, come out. My friends are here. I was like, I have to work. I don't know. Like, I'm just thinking, like, why are we not talking about what just happened? He's really just trying to pretend it's not a thing. So he tells me to come meet him at this restaurant where his friends are at. And he's like, it's down the street from your job. You don't have to be at work for like 2 more hours. Just come for a little bit. And I'm like, okay. So I show up, and mind you, I'm still in love with this man, but it's just like crazy because it's just like, what? He's gay. Like, what did I just see? And I don't even know, like, did he actually sleep with a man or not? Because in the text, it didn't actually show him meeting up with a guy. So I'm like, is he lying or is he telling the truth? I don't know. So then we go to the restaurant, and as soon as I get to the door, he runs up to me like, hey, good to see you, da da da. And I'm like, good. Why are you acting like so like excited and like just his vibe was just throwing me off. And he whispered in my ear, he's like, please don't do this. Don't do this. Like, just go along with it, please. Just go along with it. And I'm like, go along with the fact that we're not to, you want me to lie and tell people that we're still together? So we're sitting there at the dinner table with his friends, and like, they're like, oh, when you guys meet, like just kikiing. And I'm just like, this is so uncomfortable. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go now. And he's like, no, no, let me drive you. And I'm like, no, I don't need you to drive me. He's like, no, just leave your car, I'll drive you. Let me give you a ride. And we're gonna go out to some hookah bar later. And I'm like, whatever. So he drives me to work, and he's like, all right, I'll see you later. About maybe an hour in, this man is at my bar with his friends, drunk as fuck. And I'm like, why is he so drunk? Security ends up coming up to me, and they're like, yo, isn't that your boyfriend? And I'm like, yeah, like, he was just dancing on some guy.
Oh, shit.
Now he's at my job embarrassing me. He's dancing with guys, getting guys' numbers, getting girls' numbers, like doing the most, trying to buy bottles, like just being belligerent drunk and just doing the most. I end up having to take him home again because he's clearly intoxicated, and I still care. I'm like, you cannot drive home. At that point, people started to find out because he was literally like just embarrassing me. Long story short, fast forward, we just ended up like breaking up. I was like, you just gotta come out. I'm not doing this. You embarrassed me. Like, I'm done. That was in June. My birthday's in August. I decided to go to Toronto for Caravana in August. I get a Snapchat video from my boss at the club that I work at of a video of my then ex-boyfriend and his new boyfriend walking into the club on my birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah, damn.
Then that's when everyone found out that this man was gay. He started dating the gay promoter at my job.
All right, I got just one question. Now looking back at it, after you found out everything, there were no signs before then?
So there was one sign, and I didn't run with it. And there was a time where I was working. Now, being a bartender, I get like hit on from time to time.
You lying.
You got my number.
Hey, y'all heard that?
Anyway, so I'm at the bar, and one of my regulars is there, and he loves me, like is in love, like has been trying to take me out. And I'm like, no, it's never gonna happen. I have a boyfriend, whatever. He told me like the next day, he was like, hey, so when I left, your boyfriend was trying to get me to come home with him. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, he was like hitting on me. And I took it as, you want to be with me so bad that you would make up such a lie? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, don't ever talk to me again. I ended up apologizing to him when I saw him, but like I wasn't speaking to him for a while because of that. But that was the only sign that I had. And then when he used to come to the gay clubs after, like, because we had gay night at the bar that I was at, I was working it, and this man came in with some rainbow shorts. And ever since then, I'm like, wow, you really look gay. That's crazy. Rainbow shorts.
He's living his best life.
But yeah.
Life like it's golden.
That's all I had.
That's an interesting story. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Many men wish sex upon me. Boy in his eyes now he can't see.